Originally, I was going to make a document about this situation, but I feel like it is better to make this video as I understand not many people like reading through documents. I have put extra information in this video and some screenshots and clips I have gathered. I also apologize in advance for the TTS voice. I do not have the time or energy to read out these things and get very emotional when doing so. Warning: disturbing media and a general trigger warning. Hello, my name is TeddyThatDraws. When I was 16, I joined a server called the Cake Klub, or FCK for short. This community was filled with many people I admired, most of whom were adults. I was thrilled to discover that some of my favorite artists and commentators were part of the server. People such as Hopeless Peaches, Just a Robot, Mad Libs, Fuchsia Butter, Miss CZ, Nezzy Monster, and the Names Junkie, to name a few. I joined after I discovered ToastyVanilla's server, following one of their videos on a popular topic at the time. Toasty's original server had a NSFW chat that was accessible to everyone, so I wasn't surprised to find more explicit content when I entered the Cake Klub. This time, however, it was predominantly spammed in the general chat. The purpose of this video is to state how I was treated in the FCK and by the creators in the FCK and outside of it. Please be warned, in some instances I do not have screenshots for some of the things that happened as my account is deleted, so the evidence I have is mainly coming from the FCK server itself. I want to acknowledge that my memory isn't perfect, and I may have forgotten some details, as I've often mentioned. Please keep this in mind while watching the video. For any artists tuning in, I will be sharing numerous screenshots, so I encourage you to pay close attention. I am not a professional commentator, and I will likely make mistakes when discussing certain topics. I will do my best to correct any errors I make. These reflections are based on my personal experiences, so please consider that as you watch. I will be adding some additional information, as I've realized that I made several significant mistakes while processing everything. This video doesn't cover everything that has happened between then and now, but I hope it provides you with a clearer understanding of my situation. ToastyVanilla was a YouTuber who became involved with individuals in both the art commentary community and the slideshow commentary community. Although ToastyVanilla had a small channel, they made a significant impact by bringing creators together to make videos and share gossip. Toasty was a nobody, but this allowed them to slip through the cracks of the Cake Klub, the art commentary community, and the slideshow commentary community, which either hid their actions or ignored them. This person was often referred to as a weird guy and a sex pest within the community. Recently, they joined the VTubing community under the name RubyMissleLauncher, or Ego Launcher. I found out about this through the Steam page they had linked, linking it back to that username. They have interacted with many people there, so I hope to make others in that community aware of the actions Toasty took in the past. There is more talking about who Toasty is in a video Akumu and Rin had made almost 5 years ago, which I will link below the video. Note: no matter how you feel about Akumu, I would recommend watching these videos. It was very early proof that wasn't taken down about Toasty. The reason I bring up Toasty is because they were the main reason the Cake Klub came to be, and how many of the minors in that server witnessed the degeneracy. The Cake Klub had a bunch of content creators, collected by ToastyVanilla, to join. The original idea as to why this server was made is unknown to me, but I joined later on. On February 18, 2020, I joined after Toasty invited me because I said I admired some of the people within the server. Toasty would constantly tease me in front of these creators. This is seen a lot on the server as Toasty actively would do so. ToastyVanilla hired me as a thumbnail artist for $30 a month and would brag about the low price to many of their friends. This would be common amongst the artists in the server, as they all were tricked to charge low prices for a mass amount of art. This is when I got to know some of the other minors in the server, who at the time, were also experiencing a lot of the flirting, constant NSFW topics and images. One of them was as young as 12. While in the server, I remember Toasty flirting with others, even the adults, inappropriately. As a 16-year-old, I understood that the porn was weird and uncomfortable, but because most of us, the victims and I, had grown used to this environment, we didn't see it as something that was wrong. We thought these were jokes and had always seen them as such. I cannot speak for every victim, as most of them I do not have contact with, but I can tell you most of us had grown used to that treatment. You may have seen the image of Sandy Cheeks Cock 4 and Mika Cock 4, some of Toasty's favorite images, which is referred to by many of the adults. But things such as lowly or bestiality was also posted in the server. I will state that Toasty had said that I consented to these images as long as they were not weird about it. However, they should have not sent them. While the age between me and Toasty was not very far, I do not think an 18 to 19-year-old should be engaging with minors in this manner. Knowing how old they are, sending mass amounts of porn and speaking to minors like this was wildly inappropriate. Especially wanting to know their sexual preferences in bed. I feel the most bad for those younger than I was, since it was a lot worse. Most were encouraged to draw NSFW for Toasty. I was encouraged to draw NSFW. While I deleted most of it because I was embarrassed, one in particular I had drawn when I was 14 to 15 sharing it on the server. I am not comfortable sharing this however, since this was of my Sona and extension of myself, who at the time, I depicted as 14-15. I will share the reactions to said image. Sometimes I would lurk in this server, seeing outrageous amounts of porn being posted, but not only in the server, Toasty would also send me porn in direct messages. However, I was not the only one this was happening to. Toasty had a habit of starting fights. Sometimes these fights were faked just to have drama happen or pinned us against each other, hence why a lot of the victims and I did not speak for a very, very long time. Toasty also would threaten many members of the group, claiming they had folders of evidence that would cancel us all or get us in trouble. Toasty would also send this type of content outside the FCK. The only proof I can, really, find of this happening is when they post a suggestive image of a hat in time, characters aged up, as well as go into another call with minors and say that they would post the porn that they had in their folders.
What?
Probably
do it.
No! Do it then.
I did it. Wait a minute, man!
That's not risky at all. That's
Well,
just butt. Oh wait,
well,
no,
all
that
these
is
characters
risky.
are aged
Hold
up.
on.
Wait, I just realized that I was like, oh my god.
Me to stay on Twitter when your video goes up just so I can take
It's
the
just
backlash and then leave.
No, either way, it's gonna happen. You can't run from it. If you get off the internet, it's still gonna somehow follow you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what alt account you use. It's gonna happen.
I mean, I don't think it really will, Kumu, but like whatever, we'll see.
Oh, well, everyone said that about the Fushimi
I mean,
video.
here's the thing. You're not the first person to do this. People bigger than you have already called me out on this stuff, and I've already talked to them. I don't know how you don't know this, but you're not the first one to hold.
So you conveniently had sexualized hat girl in your save file, just in news, risky.
Oh, no, not in save file. That was a copy and paste right from Twitter. I can show you right now the porn I have saved.
No.
I'll show it to you.
Not.
Toasty, you're gonna get yourself in another situation.
Yeah,
because that would be showing.
No. Please don't.
Please don't.
Ready?
Toasty, you're literally gonna gonna be proving that you're showing porn to minors.
Let's compare dick sizes.
Stop.
Fuck it.
I have a very small porn collection, but I do have
Toasty.
Oh my god.
Stop the live stream, or I'm gonna kick you out.
Hold on. Let Foxtron speak. I can't hear her.
Toasty,
what were you saying?
You're literally gonna prove that you're showing porn to minors.
Are there minors in this book?
Yes! I'm a minor.
Stay to be a kid since the beginning.
So I still felt like a minor, so I still, like, didn't really care.
This is Akumu's video. Thankfully they caught one of the instances where Toasty would post a wildly inappropriate thing in front of two known minors. If you haven't yet, I would recommend looking at the video. There were a lot of fights, but one stood out that pushed the barrier. Ben Looney had drawn an image of an OKKO character who was very much clearly underage. This started a massive fight that went outside of the server. During this time I spent time still with the FCK and Ben, since Ben had promised me these kinds of images would never be drawn again. I was still 17 by this point. The FCK had pushed me into a corner telling me to stop hanging out with Ben and told me how horrible Ben was for posting underage character porn, whilst either drawing it or posting it themselves. A full timeline of the FCK can be found on Akumu's FCK video, which he will be shortening eventually. I will link both below. Note, once again, no matter how you feel about Akumu, most if not all information has been thoroughly documented, screenshotted, and recorded for your viewing. There is a lot he left out and there are things he says I do not agree with, But this is his side of everything, and it details a lot of things they did on that server. It's a 9-hour-long video, so watch when you have the time to, or keep watching. It's up to you how you feel about it, but nonetheless, it is everything important. Ben Balloony was called out by creators such as Fuchsia Butter, Toby Majestic, and Toasty themselves. There were possibly more of them talking about it, however I do not remember. Whilst Toby was a popular figurehead in this community, she had openly stated that Ben was a pedophile in her video grieving over her dog.
Ben Balloony's a pedophile on Twitter who draws underage characters fucking. Some of them he ages up, like physically, but a lot he doesn't, which shows that he actively chose not to do it. He also has a fucking revolving door of maps that follow him on Twitter. He also follows other maps on Twitter too, which is great. Hey Ben, you don't want to be called a pedophile. Don't draw underage looking children fucking people.
This was encouraged by Toasty behind the scenes beforehand, all of them making tweets about Ben, which can be seen in Akumu's FCK Maximum video. During this time I was a VA for Ben, voicing his character Marigold. I was 17 in all of these instances. This was around the time I had cut Toasty from my life. During this time, Ben Balloony pointed out the fact that I was being groomed by Toasty. This was something I had taken, ran with, and had desperately tried to get people to listen to me about. Toasty, hearing about this, gathered up people who didn't like me as well and made an attempt to make a video on me, with evidence they had collected. During this time I will refer to a person named Person A, who would try to join Toasty in making this video about me, since I had beef with them. This video would have included a clip of a Person A who shared a very personal story about my sexual assault. Not only this, but lied to exaggerated it to make it seem like I was lying about how it happened. I don't know what else would have been in that video other than Toasty talking about how I falsely called them a groomer and had lied to everyone about it. Big creators I had shared this with didn't seem to listen, and Toasty had brushed me off as a known liar. Person A had started sending his friends to harass me on Twitter. And not just message me to say slightly mean things. My friends and I were sent self-harm images, all of which were coming from a man twice our age, who was around 30 at the time. The 30-year-old man had sent multiple disturbing images and had made fun of a friend of mine for siding with me. How did he do this? He sends an anime girl overdosing, to make fun of the fact my friend had lost their sister to an overdose. This harassment went on until I had tried to take my own life, after which, Person A and his friends had a call with me, where I wanted to have a truce. This is where I confront Person A, to which they admit all that was to suicide bait me into killing myself to prove I wasn't going to which I responded, and what would you have done if I did? This call was one of the endings to the group's harassment. I was told by Toasty's group to then write an apology for them all, which I was forced to write as I was being blackmailed by one of the people making the video, otherwise they would release it. Which is what everyone is responding to in the prior screenshots. Like a snake biting its own tail, things started to get messy in the two separate groups. Toasty had disappeared completely and had left the remaining group to pick up the pieces. They all had dropped the idea of a video since Toasty had left. They explained Toasty had a falling out with everyone and tried being on my good side again. This is where things started to calm down. I never forgave any of the people that were involved in that video. They recorded my meltdowns without me knowing, made fun of when I wanted to end my life, tried to bait me into ending my life, and this is from things I can remember. Due to how I was treated, I had still told the story and didn't name people involved. I was so torn and thought I had wrongly accused someone of grooming. Later in 2024, a streamer by the name of Lakamokalaka originally stumbled upon the FCK and made a stream which I will leave linked down below. Note, I pinned where they read my original document, which I am not sure had my apology. If not, this is my first statement out there publicly if you wish to listen to it. When I had made that apology, I had gone to the creators I had told and said I had lied, one of them being Junkie. And Hopeless Peaches. These screenshots are again from an account I cannot access, but I had told so many people and had sent said apology receiving either a cold shoulder or it is what it is. The name's Junkie has been proven to know exactly what happened in the server, and had kept being friends with Toasty even after the fact. I had begged people to listen to me when this was happening, crying about a video being made on me for telling people I was groomed by an adult who they all knew and were friends with, in a server they were in. By the time the dust had settled, people started to ignore me, brushing me off. I had a hatred for the adults who sat there and knew exactly what happened for years. In 2024, an account named FCK Leaks released numerous screenshots, which sent me into a panic as these events had long since faded from memory. In a desperate attempt to prove my innocence, I created my first document addressing the situation. You can find the original document here read by Laka, linked below. Throughout this period, I struggled with numerous emotional breakdowns. I resorted to excessive drinking and participated in conversations that I now regret. Out of all the calls I was part of, there's only one that I feel comfortable sharing because it doesn't reveal any personal information. That call included me, Susie, Doodletones, Eliamomeli, Laka, and a friend of mine. You can listen to it in the link below. Before this call had happened, I had said and done things I don't stand by now. I started lashing out at Laka, thinking he was trying to take advantage of me. I feel as though my anger was misguided and had apologized to Laka after, realizing no one who was having these calls with me wanted to help me, but from what I am understanding, wanted me to clear their name and be their shield. I acknowledge that this may have not been their intentions, but it certainly came off that way to me and many other people. I've been involved in many calls, some of which I choose not to disclose due to the deeply personal nature of the conversations. I know there's a curiosity surrounding these calls, but I feel a sense of shame regarding how I expressed myself. During those calls, I would often drink more than I should have to muster the courage to speak up. While I requested not to be recorded, it turns out I was recorded anyway, an occurrence that seems quite common in the FCK/ACC, so I won't dwell on it too much. I'm not proud of my actions in 2024, I addressed issues poorly and often struggled to articulate myself. I have viewed the same set of distressing screenshots multiple times, which affected me deeply. I sincerely apologize for any harm I may have caused during this time. I have been reaching out to those I may have wronged and will continue to do so. Now, there is a video being made by Thumin that will go in depth about the things that happened to me and the victims. This will be, hopefully, the very last time I address this. If not, I will write more on my Twitter or in the pinned comment updating anything. I am 21 now, almost 22. I want to be able to live my life freely and away from the people that hurt me. Thank you for supporting me, and I will see you guys next time. Stay safe, much love.